I would like to tell you a very short story. The story is about manure. It is a story that you may have already heard, and it concerns the great horse manure crisis of 1894. The City of London commissioned scientific research on an urban planning issue that stated the biggest challenge regarding further urban development in the City of London was solving the difficulty of removing horse manure from the streets. In 1894, they had not considered the advent of the automobile, which obviously swept away this type of problem. As I mentioned, I work for Interlogica, a company based in Mestre that specializes in creating custom complex information systems across various fields and sectors. I will give some examples just to frame what we do. For German railways, we are responsible for transporting, organizing, and visualizing the data collected from sensors installed on all German freight trains. For tails, we will count how many passengers get on and off at each stop from the 200 trains that will be activated on 3 new lines of the Paris subway for the 2024 Olympics. For the tracks, we deal with LiDAR systems that capture the route as seen by autonomous trains, and the software we develop reports changes over time in the landscape around the train's path, such as the growth of a branch or the subsidence of the embankment under the track for maintenance purposes. For N+, we collect data from IoT sensors installed on highway bridges, and through this, we actually verify their health status. So in these projects, we handle large amounts of artificial intelligence, big data, and we manage the Internet of Things. But we realize that, in addition to these 3 buzzwords, we need to add an additional ingredient that is even more complicated and difficult to handle. Because as long as we talk about objects and data clouds, everything is complex, but relatively simple. When we touch on human beings, we know that everything becomes a bit more complicated. Certainly we need people with the right skills, that is logical, but when we talk about change, I know that we need not only tools, but many of these tools are cultural. It's easy to say I put in a sensor, I buy software, but after adding sensors and purchasing software, I need to update my culture. I need to embrace different ways of thinking that are enabled by the software and the sensors. Because when we talk about change and technology and human beings, what erupts are sparks of continuous change. Because technology contaminates human beings who, with their change, recontaminate technology. Predicting today is hard, like in 1894 with horse manure. And no, in the example I mentioned, it is an attempt to imagine the future based on the present and the past, envisioning that evolution follows a straight line. If we look at what happened yesterday and the day before yesterday, and see what is happening today, we can hypothesize what will happen tomorrow. The problem is that, in this case, we are unable to grasp how great the wave of change that is about to overwhelm us is. The IoT will essentially be the human ability to place sensors and actuators in the surrounding world, in anything that comes to mind, through which a new form of awareness of the dynamics of the world around us can be obtained by the human species. Interlogica was founded in the 1990s by a hacker. Today we are 100 people, working with large companies and banks, hiring individuals with a mindset similar to that of hacking, ethical hacking of course, when it comes to cybersecurity. This is because we believe that great technological revolutions require people who do not think in a linear way, to be harnessed, of people who seek creative and original solutions to the problems they face. We believe that our mindset and our culture make us well suited to identify evolutionary and original pathways. We are in favor of short projects that utilize what already exists, to test ideas in the field, gather feedback, and proceed iteratively towards developments that are consistent with the changes that inevitably and increasingly rapidly disrupt the status quo. We try to anticipate change and in particular to quickly adapt to the sparks of continuous change that occur by bringing technology and human beings closer together. We are hackers and we want to see the future. Thank you. Thank you to Nicola Barocchi.